Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, the Declaration of Independence, we all know about it. If you've ever been in a history class, you've heard about unalienable rights. You heard about how all men should be equal, how we should have the rights to be in the to pursue happiness. What this document really outlines, it outlines several different types of things, but when you read it closely, when you read not just the first couple lines, and when you go more into the document, and you don't just read what it says about our pursuit of happiness and our rights and our equality, that all men are created equal. It kind of really outlines certain ideas that people, usually never really talk about. It talks about how um, if a government or if a ruling body ever gets out of control, the people have a right to overthrow the government. Now, that's something when you read the Declaration of Independence that you don't really consider. And that says a lot about America. And that's kind of like a warning to the American government about that comes from the Declaration of Independence. That Americans have this duty to protect their own selves, to the point where if their government ever became something that's not looking for their interests, that's not looking to help them or help the majority or help the people, then the people have a duty, they have a right to overthrow that government and establish something that's more beneficial to them. So that's something when you're reading the Declaration of Independence that's kind of eye opening. Now we know all the things about equality. The everybody. If you've heard about the Declaration of Independence, you know that it's a declaration to Great Britain that the colonies are moving on. They're becoming their own independent nation, their own independent body, and they'll govern themselves. That's definitely in there. That's the summary of it. That's definitely what this letter is about. But it also outlines the reasons as to why the colonies are leaving Great Britain, the reasons as to why they must be independent, because there's no representation. The ruling body that's over them, it does not care about them. Now, again, the Declaration of Independence was not an easy document to write. It had five authors, and Thomas Jefferson, um, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, they all had a hand, and there's five of authors in total. And so altogether, these five men came together and they wrote the Declaration of Independence. Now, of course, Thomas Jefferson was, the leader of this party, or his name was put up in front, and a lot of his ideas are outlined within this work. But it's not just Thomas Jefferson. There's four other people: Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and two other authors that mostly people never really talk about. They just pretty much credited to Thomas Jefferson. Yes, he did write a significant portion of it, but yet it's not just his ideas. There are other people's ideas within this work. So that's another thing that really popped out at me as I was reading this, that it wasn't just Thomas Jefferson. There were other thinkers, other important men who helped build America, that helped write the Declaration of Independence. So the ideas in here, it really outlines, this declaration really outlines the reason as to why Britain failed the colonies, as to why the people of the colonies, they're not being supported, they're not being represented. Their issues, if they have a grievance, an issue, and they'll let the king know about it, and yet the king will not take it seriously. The king will take a long time to answer them. Yes, they're aware of the vast ocean that's between Britain and the colonies. They understand all of that. But when you're facing, real life problems, real life situation, when things can go awry, you can't wait several months to get an answer from the king to tell you what to do, to create or revoke or change laws in some way and in some sort. So really, the declaration outlines the failure of Britain, why it's not working, its role in governing the colonies, its role and how horrible its role is, and that it didn't do its job. And so the declaration talks about, okay, when you think about the equality, all men are created equal, the pursuit of happiness, unalienable rights, all of these things come to the colonies, or to these five men, to these five authors, because of how Britain treated people of lower class. If you weren't born into the royal family in England, if you weren't born into the House of Lords, or into a House of Lords, you pretty much, there was no upward mobility for you. If you were a peasant, you stayed a peasant. And so these ideas that come up within the Declaration of Independence, they really paint a concise picture, a very thorough picture, to paint, how Britain was failing the colonies, where they had messed up, and really they come to the conclusion that when you have a government, when you have a ruling body that's not going to help you, that's not for your best interest, the only thing that you can do is pretty much, well, declare your own independence. Declare that you've had enough, and that you are now going to govern yourself as your own entity. And that's something that it's not just one thing that you everybody should get from the Declaration of Independence. It's not just a document that the colonizers, they wanted to break away from Great Britain. It's not that. Um, if Great Britain had treated the colonies right, if there was representation, if their complaints, comments, grievances, if they were heard, if the king actually made an effort to fix problems, to have proper taxation, um, the colonists wouldn't have an issue. But it's the fact that they have a ruling body that does not have the people's interest in mind. And so Thomas Jefferson, other philosophical, political thinkers, they pretty much joined together and said that we need to create some type of government that's for our interests, that wants to help the people and help develop, well, I guess we can say here, American lives. And so the Declaration of Independence, all of that is presented within it. I would say it's a very concise, precise document that really illustrates the reasons as to why the colonies wanted to separate from Great Britain, the reason as to why they needed to move away from them, the failure of Great Britain, and also, well, their new ideas about happiness, how to pursue it, about independence, about equal rights, and their vision and dream to create a government that's for the people, by the people, and that it's not a king above them, but the law is king. So that's the idea that you get from the Declaration of Independence. So it's not as simple as some people might think about it. It's a document that showed how organized the colonies were. They didn't just want to rebel. They had substantial reasons as to why they wanted to move away from Britain. So, in terms of deeper meaning, in terms of looking at the analysis here, um, I mean, you can see that, well, the Declaration of Independence, it's philosophical. It says a lot about the existence, and the meaning of the lives of the people that lived in the colonies. It also kind of gave structure as to what the colonists were doing. It gave structure in the vision that they had for the future. Because we could, just by reading the Declaration of Independence, you could see that the colonizers, they didn't just want to go to war with Britain. They wanted to create a new country, a new system where they could flourish, where their children could flourish, and where their voices could be heard. And so that's a key thing that you can take from this Declaration of Independence. It's that um, organized rebellion, and that's an idea that really is mind-boggling, because it's not just the colonies rebelling against Britain. It's an organized, thought out. They thought about it. They made a strategy. They had 5 brilliant men write this document that really gave we can even say some PowerPoint bullet points, to really illustrate the reasons why as to why they were behaving in the way that they were behaving. Again, when you are rebelling against your mother country, and you stop and you write down reasons as to why you're rebelling, it makes the rebellion something totally different. It's not just you rebelling out of anger, but it's you saying that this is not fair. We're not being represented. We're being oppressed, and this is what we want. And we're writing down what we want, and what we're looking for in the future for the government and the country that we want to be a part of, that we want to create. So that's all taken in within the Declaration of Independence. So that's what I had to say about it. That's my summary and analysis. Please remember to give a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.